What up, y'all? This is Jamba here once again with another Wheat Waffles reaction. This time I'm on the upper right hand corner. Yeah, we're switching it up. Got plugging my phone here. Okay, this is another Wheat Waffles, you know, Wheaty boy. Western women walked away from dating. Okay. Oh, we meet again. We meet again. All right, let's dig in here.
I'm going to start off this video with a TikTok I saw a couple of weeks ago. In fact, this TikTok served as the inspiration for me when
Wheat Waffles is he's such a bland. Like, it's so funny his name is Wheat Waffles because this motherfucker literally looks like if a waffle made a wish and says, I wish I was a human being. Like, the waffle would turn into this dude. You know what I mean? And I'm not making fun of him. I actually don't think he's an ugly guy. I just think he's just so he's just funny looking. I mean, look at the guy. Just look at him.
I wrote the script. As soon as I saw it, it flooded back so many negative memories of failed first dates I've had. And in my experience, it epitomizes everything to do with what I've titled
Dude, just marry an Asian woman and get it over with. Wheat Waffles. I mean, that's but you gotta make the content. So
the video. Western women, even those who go on dates or claim to be looking, many have ultimately walked away from dating.
hmm
And this is shown in their actions and is a big factor for why you're alone.
hmm
Here's the video.
let's go.
I just got back from a first date, which is why I'm all dressed up. But the guy was actually so nice.
Oh,
This was the first time I've been on like a first date.
oh. So as soon as she said that, you know that he was cooked. But let's and she's a good looking woman too. She's a really good looking woman.
Where it actually went really good to the point where it's like, I would consider going out with you again. Like, he was a gentleman. He paid for the meal. He opened the doors.
She's out.
He wasn't making fun of me. Like, maybe the bare minimum. Anyway. And he was like, before I walk you to your car, I need to get something out of my car. And he's like, I got this for you.
Oh
So
no.
we're going to open it up together because I haven't opened it up yet. He just gave it to me.
Oh
And
no.
he's like, yeah, I picked it up for you. And I'm pretty sure it's flowers. And I think he said maybe wine.
Oh,
Wow. And then he got me a bottle of wine.
wow.
How sweet of him. I need to go
Oh God. Okay, let's keep watching.
put these together. I remember when I had to beg my first boyfriend to get me flowers for Valentine's Day or my birthday. Meanwhile, this guy gives me flowers on a first date. Also, can we have a moment for the dress provided by Yuki? Because Yuki did in fact pay for the dress. Thank you very much. I tried calling my sister to debrief and, talk about how the date went, but she's asleep, which is why I'm actually making this video because I couldn't tell her, so now I'm telling the whole world apparently.
All right, there's nothing deliberately wrong with that. Okay, add time. Add time. Okay, and we're back. Yeah, I'm curious to see what Wee Waffles has to say about that because that on its face it doesn't seem like there was anything in particularly wrong with that. But I mean, maybe he has something insightful.
Okay, let me tell you the most important and bitter truth from that video.
Yeah, what's up?
There is a 99% chance that this man will never see this woman again. For many of you,
Maybe
this might seem obvious. And even the comments were highlighting this.
I wouldn't say 99. I would say about a 70% chance. But if he's a good looking dude, then if he was a good looking dude, I would say about 75%. I wouldn't put it at 90.
Was painfully clear. The top comment, 3,200 likes. He won't get a second date.
Mm-hmm.
Next one, 1,000 likes. Notice how she said she would consider going out with him again.
It's a good point.
All that effort for a maybe.
Yeah.
The other comments were similar. And he's friend zoned.
Yeah.
Almost every guy has put in this much effort at least once, only to be rejected or unappreciated.
Right.
Then never again.
Right. These
Bro getting that "we should just be friends" text right after this.
Yeah.
She said he was so nice and I would consider go out with him again. Dude,
time where it's a consider, then your odds are pretty low. To his point. To his point, anything is on a consider or I might go or we'll see. Yeah, so done. It's okay. So he might be onto something.
Ain't having a second date. Every single one of these comments is 100% spot on.
Yeah.
I can say from my experience, I read her energy like a book. I've been on countless first dates with girls similar to this, and they all only showed up because they wanted a date and nothing else.
Hmm.
They wanted time.
They wanted to. They didn't have much to do that day, and you were an option, and you were the best option at that time. Whether you're going to a comedy show, you're going out um, to go golfing, to a dinner, a movie. Hey, it's an open slot, and it's basically like free entertainment, right? So, and it's entertainment with a guy because more than likely she's not going to go out with a guy who she finds unattractive. She probably does find you attractive, but just not attractive enough, right? So, yeah,
Money and affection spent on them, while simultaneously not thinking of why the man is there in the first place
yeah,
or what she can provide him back
they
in
don't care.
return.
They don't care.
She sees you as a resource to make herself feel special,
Hmm.
and that's that.
Yeah, so
Now, obviously, not all dates or single girls are like this,
right.
but as I'm going to explain later in the video, most are,
Hmm.
especially young, Western, single women, and this is absolutely shown in my experience too.
Hmm.
Luckily, I learned my lesson after the first couple girls that treated me like this, and I never invested this much into these first dates.
Yeah, man.
But I
Flowers. I mean, I'm not sure why flowers and wine. I mean, I can understand that you because here's what happened. The guy went out with this woman. She was probably one of the most attractive women that he's ever been on a date with. So he really wanted to put in a good, hell, a great first impression. But the very thing that he did was a very thing. Well, one of the very things that is going to, you know, repel that woman from him in the first place. So it's a conundrum that a lot of men find themselves in.
actually feel sorry for the guy who showed up to this one. He paid for a meal, got her flowers,
And wine.
wine, listened to her,
Yeah.
gave her a great experience.
Yeah.
You can even see from the smile on her face how ecstatic she felt from it.
Yeah.
But all just so she could use him for his time and attention.
And use him for content. Let's not forget that he's probably going to go there too. A lot of the times, these women go out with guys, and then wow, I got flowers, I got this. He treated me, and they use it for content in the right,
And then create a TikTok video out of
right.
it.
It's a content.
And she had the audacity to say his behavior was the bare minimum.
Mm.
Hardly appreciative.
Sorry to keep pausing, but that's a good point. That's a good point. It's funny that she said that was a quote unquote bare minimum, but her ex boyfriend didn't do any of that stuff. So how is it the bare minimum? So it's the bare minimum for a guy like him, the guy who she went out with, who was eager, who was romantic, but it wasn't the bare minimum for Brad, the or whoever guy that she was with before. You can't say it's a bare minimum, but you didn't require it from the dude before. So some double speak going on here, right?
If I was in his shoes, and I have been so in many scenarios in my life, I would feel totally and utterly used.
Yeah, yeah,
And you wonder why so many men end up becoming bitter,
yeah,
jaded,
yeah,
and frustrated when they put in so much effort into a date,
yeah.
trying to show love, affection, and a desire to get to know her. But for the majority of cases, they end up just getting used for their time, attention, money, and emotions.
Yeah, ladies. I know we're 4 minutes in, but a lot of men start off being very, very, very romantic. Ladies, y'all kill romantic men. There were a lot more romantic men, and then y'all just started to slaughter them one by one with y'all being ungrateful, y'all taking advantage of them, y'all kind of gaslighting these men, like, and they dwindle over time. I was once a very romantic. I know a lot of men, and either through our own experiences, through the experiences of our friends and cousins, brothers, teammates, etc., we see what being romantic garners you about 99.9% of the time. So if you want to, if you're asking why aren't men romantic or what happened to romance, you have to start looking into the mirror. Not you specifically, but just women as a unit, right?
For anyone still out there thinking that this guy actually has a chance with this girl,
Not really.
I don't mean in an offensive way, but you are deluded.
Huh.
Let's unpack exactly what she said in the key moments where she's thinking about the
Let's
chance for
break
the
it
second
down.
date.
All right.
I quote, "This was the first time I've been on like a first date where it's actually went really good to the point where it's like I would consider going out with you again."
To consider. Oh,
similar to this so many
Hold on,
times.
hold on. My goodness, I have to pause it and okay, play it again. Okay, here we go.
Guys,
Hold
I've been on like a first date where it's actually went really good to the point where it's like I would consider going out with you again. Guys, I've heard phrases similar to this so many times.
on.
And in each case where I've heard these phrases, not a single one led to a second or anything meaningful for that matter.
Yeah.
It is pure equivocation. It's so obvious where she uses ambivalent words such as like or consider when addressing the possibility of a second date that she is clearly not interested in a meaningful connection.
Yeah.
You should pay very close attention to the words people use, because humans actually have great difficulty lying and will use equivocation and half truths instead with words such as like and consider to change the meaning of a sentence.
And also too, it was more about what he did for her and like the flowers and the wine and how he made her feel. It was really about her. This is something I've noticed. He might talk about this. It was really more so about her as opposed to what she liked about him. She didn't mention what his hobbies were. She didn't mention his sense of humor. She didn't mention his musical taste. She didn't mention how he was dressed. She didn't mention, how that he was a masculine guy, that he smelled well, that he was good looking, that he, oh my goodness, like he has like such like his shoulders are so nice and broad, whatever it is, right? Um, just his energy, like just something about him specifically. It was all about what he was doing for her. So yeah, he might talk about that.
And it's subtle, but if you pay close attention, you can pick up on it.
Hmm.
Put simply, half truths mean no, any ambiguity or uncertainty means no. Whereas if she instead said, I'm really looking forward to our second date, I can't wait to see him again,
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to seeing where this goes in future,
Hmm.
then it would be clear she is serious.
A little bit.
I've had girls tell me these phrases like this after the first date, and I knew it would lead somewhere. But these are not the words she gave, or even similar. So I think it's clear she's not interested in starting something meaningful. She couldn't even call it a first date. Saying like a first date and just a first date are worlds apart in terms of seriousness. One of them means she is serious, while the other is an equivocation. It means she couldn't care less and only showed up because it sounded fun in the moment. Furthermore, I had a browse of her Instagram profile after watching the video, and it was clear as day.
Ah, damn. Excuse my language. 228,000. What the fuck is she? Man, social media is the worst thing that's happened to men, women in relationships. It's one of the best things that's happened to women, but one of the worst things that's happened to men in relationships. This woman has 228,000 followers. Um, I said she was pretty earlier, but she's not that damn pretty. Um, it's just her traveling. He's probably gonna talk about how she's traveling. She's ooh, yeah, bro. That's a pending L, bro. Yeah, you're not gonna lock that down. You no.
This is where her mind is at right now.
Yeah, traveling.
She is jetting across the world, living a luxurious and independent lifestyle.
Yep.
Based on this, does she really look the type of lady with a desire to settle down in one home and
Hell,
share her life with one man and start a
hell
family?
no,
I don't think so.
no.
It's likely the case she doesn't even realize at heart she is a single woman who wants to stay single.
Gotcha. Yeah, yeah,
This is the conclusion.
yeah. Because her being single can allow her to garner more dates and more experiences, more traveling, more food, more living life, more sexual escapades, more of all yeah. It's like yeah, yeah. It's especially at her age and with that look, with her aesthetic, with that Instagram page. Yeah, definitely getting hit up by MLB players, some NHL players. Yeah, it's a wrap.
I've drawn from
It's a
so many
wrap.
girls who've been similar to her that I've went out with.
Mm-hmm.
They might think they are on a date and looking for something serious,
Do not.
but in reality, they couldn't care less about that, and this is evidenced by the dichotomy of how much praise they give of how good the first date was, contrasted with their actions, or rather lack thereof, when they suddenly fall off a cliff after the first date and are never to be seen again.
Yep, gone.
I've been there myself too many times to count.
Yeah.
What I learned is just because a girl goes on dates or is single and says she's interested in meeting guys doesn't mean she's actually has a desire to start a relationship with one. As you never know, she might just be doing that to have some affection and love showered on her from time to time.
Yeah.
And to get to the main point I want to make in this video, this is the heart of the problem.
What's up?
In my experience, there are way more girls like this who are single and want to stay single than men who are the same,
Yeah.
especially so in the West. My friend,
Yes. No, it's not even close. Well, it's because women are in 2024 are incentivized, especially if they're attractive. Because the thing about it is that there's no longer this age where you come across attractive women that don't have a heavy social media imprint. The vast majority of attractive women have a heavy social media imprint. And if they have a heavy social media imprint, it actually benefits them to be single than it does to be in a relationship. There was a woman who, I'm not going to mention her name, but she's an entertainer. I would say not that type of entertainer, but she actually does stand up and acting and dancing and stuff like that. And she has a boyfriend, but she doesn't advertise her boyfriend on her social media because she has a big social media presence and she knows she wants to keep it private. And so, and in essence, I'm going to say that, by her keeping her boyfriend private, she probably still gets hit up. I'm not saying that she's exercises those options, but the point of the matter is that women understand that if I'm a pretty woman, I'm going to get a lot further, or I'm going to have a lot more opportunities as a single woman than as a woman in a relationship. And I think they understand this kind of subconsciously. Now, if they're about to be with a guy who is a high value dude, or he's a and I'm not saying this is the case, and this is it in every case, because I have come across a lot of women, mostly white women, who were in college. They do got big followings, and they end up being with a man who's just a normal-ish type of guy, who is a good-looking guy. So that does happen. I'm not saying it doesn't, but in a lot of cases, in a lot of cases, women, whether they know it or not, they actually do prefer to stay single, because they just don't have any like underlying incentive to really be in a relationship like that. It will, especially with the types of men that they're giving access to regularly.
is living in Hungary right now, an Eastern European country,
Wait, I'm
and,
lost.
and want to stay single than men who are the same,
Got me lost.
especially so in the West.
Mm-hmm.
My friend is living in Hungary right now,
Mm-hmm.
an Eastern European country,
Yep.
and he said by far the biggest difference in mentalities he saw when dating there versus in the West is the girls there actually want to date with seriousness
Mm-hmm.
and longevity in mind.
Yeah.
Look at these screenshots. My passion in my whole life is I want to get married with the right person and I want a family. Basically, I date to marry. Most of these girls, he said, were 18 or 19.
Wow.
And already, they are saying that they want to meet a man to be on a path for family and marriage.
Yeah, these women, to his point, that these women in these other countries like Hungary, I haven't been there, but just from my understanding, they're not trying to date just to date and have experiences and see where things go and be in situationships and have fuck buddies and jump from guy to guy and all that type of stuff. And like, I'm not ready. I got to do this and I got to establish myself. These women, they are trying to find their person now as opposed to later, which I think is makes a lot more sense, even though it's more rare. But I'm not gonna get into the pros and cons of all that. But yeah, what he's saying is on point.
That's very mature and eager for their age. Now, could you imagine asking Western girls the same question of what they are looking for from dating?
Fuck
If they're 18 to 25, maybe 1 in 10 girls will say they are dating with the sole intention of marriage and starting a family.
But they were already be in a relationship. If they're at that, if even they're that 1 out of 10, they're already in a relationship generally. But yeah, the vast majority are just they're not looking for that. At fucking 19 to 25, you can and they're attractive, or at least they're decent looking, you can forget about it.
As for the rest, I guarantee they'll either be very ambiguous, like, I don't know what I'm looking for.
Yeah,
I'm just seeing what's out there.
yeah,
I'm just going off vibe,
vibes. Yeah,
Or they'll be hostile, like, why are you asking me that? That's a bit intrusive, don't you think?
hmm
which all makes dating very unproductive and frustrating as a man.
Yeah.
Additionally,
It's frustrating because you more times than not, especially if you're not an attractive guy, you're gonna have to put in some money in order to deal with that woman. You're gonna have to take her out on a date. You're gonna have to take her get some food. You're gonna have to go to the movies, and especially if you're like a man in his early 20s, you don't have that much money generally. I mean, you might be that popping dude, but most dudes ain't popping. So it's like as a man, when you take a woman on a date, that is a bit of an investment, and it sucks to constantly have to do that in order to get to know a woman, and that woman doesn't know what she wants, or that woman is in the middle. Because a lot of these times these women go out on dates, and I've always said this shit, and I know dudes that have literally done this. I've always said this. I've always said that women will go on dates with guys, come back and get dropped back off at their crib with leftovers at 10:30 a.m. and not 10:30 a.m. 10 p.m. or 10:30 p.m. And then the guy who she's fucking comes over at 10:47, and he's eating the leftovers by 11:15. You know what I'm saying? He's eating the leftovers that the guy who she went out with bought for her. And she's texting her, what I'm saying, I had a good time, I hope we can see each other again. And then meanwhile, she's getting back shots from Billy Pipers, you know what I'm saying? So and that's the reality, because I know dudes who were the first. Hell, I've been the first guy mostly. I've been mostly the first guy. I'm not going to say I've been. I'm the one who's coming in at no. I'm not. I was never really that guy. But that's just the reality.
in my experience too, I've dated women from different nationalities, and I've noticed that non-Western women are more likely to have real desire to
Yeah.
start a relationship young and be on the path to share their life with a man, with the eventual goal looking at marriage and raising a family. Whereas for most Western women, especially the single ones, have little desire, and at best they'll want to settle down with a guy when she's in her late 20s or early 30s.
Yep.
And as for the few young Western women who do want a relationship, guess what? They're already in relationships. It's a massive selection bias. Another example. This was so blatantly clear when I met this girl from the dating app Bumble. It was her first day on the app, and she was super sweet and super sincere. She told me how she's recently out of a relationship and is over him now and looking for love and something serious. She said how she wants to get to know a guy, nurture him, be a good partner, and eventually get married and have kids. Now I thought, this is surely too good to be true.
Yeah.
Let me see if this is legit.
Let's see.
So I went on the first date with her, and it was so good, she was the real deal.
Mm.
She also told me how she had 600 matches from the first day of Bumble.
Can you imagine having? Yeah, man. Sometimes if you gotta understand, man, if you get a match on a dating app, you did you did better than the average guy by a long shot. If you get a message on a dating app, you're doing really well. And if you get a date from a dating app, you're doing really, really well. But the problem is that out of 5 dates you go on, you're only gonna get maybe one or two, if you're lucky, second dates. Unless you're a chat, of course. If you're a chat, then you're not gonna have a hard time with any of this stuff.
She told me after our first date, she deleted the app.
I remember.
Now, I could have easily got this girl in a relationship and paired off with her, but I actually chose to date someone else at the time.
Oh,
But this shows
you idiot.
how when
Can you at least acknowledge that you kind of a dummy for doing that, weedy boy?
a girl is serious, it literally takes one day to meet someone and start a relationship.
Yeah.
I would have been the lucky guy out of 600 to be in a relationship with her, while the other 599 guys will be stuck waiting on the sidelines until the next girl like her joins the dating app. An important point I want to make in this video is any single girl in the West who is reasonably pretty has no excuse. It is her
I always said that, yeah, they don't have any excuse whatsoever.
choice, her decision to be single, and she cannot complain. This is how the dating market works.
Yeah.
Single women in the West have a mentality of reject guys, reject guys, reject guys, reject guys, until, wait, I'm ready to get to know someone now, so who is going to court me and show me love? Even the girl from the video at the start. She has this mentality, and it wouldn't surprise me if 5 to 10 years later, she just might decide she's ready to settle down.
But you can't blame her though, bro, because she's gonna have a lot of fun doing it. She's gonna have a lot of memories. She's gonna have a lot of sex. She's gonna have a lot of traveling. She's gonna have a lot of um. So it's like, you, yeah, yeah, absolutely. She's gonna settle when she feels like it. She has all of the power, and you, Weedy boy, and most men in general, have zero.
She may even reach out to the same guy who courted her, asking if he wants to start a relationship with her now.
Nah, it's not gonna happen.
What a kick in the teeth that would be. I've seen many single women expect men to sit on the sidelines, and only when she wants a relationship, that's when she'll call up the guy and expect him to pick things up from where they left off.
Hmm.
She'll expect him to start being as chivalrous and courteous as he was all those years ago,
Hmm.
even though she made him wait when he was trying to make something work with her, but she told him she wasn't ready. I've provided mainly personal anecdotes in this video, and I have data supporting what I'm saying, but I will save the data for another video, as this one has gone on long enough.
Hmm.
So if you want to see that,
All right. Well, 25 minutes of this. All right, y'all. So look, man, like and subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll be back to you with more content.